It's often been said that justice is blind. These days, however, it seems she's also deaf, sleep-deprived, and off her meds as well. Depending on where you live in the world, the modern legal system arguably functions just marginally better than Chernobyl's #1 reactor in 1986. Now, I'm not sure who it was that once said, "You don't have to be right to win an argument," but apparently, courts and lawyers seem to have taken that concept and ran with it. To yet again clarify, I'm not against rule of law as a concept. In truth, there's a lot that it does right. That being said, there's no such thing as a bug-free system. Most of us would like to believe that the legal system is designed to uphold justice and fairness, being the decider of right and wrong. The problem is, somewhere along the line, those concepts became procedures. It doesn't matter if someone has literally burned down your house. If you fail to file an arson report within the allocated time span, you don't have a case. Your fault for not reading subsection yada yada. I'm beginning to understand why Lady Justice is blind now. It seems all those years of squinting at fine print have given her cataracts. Also, why is the legal system so obsessed with Latin? As if legalese wasn't a complex enough language in and of itself. If you're going to screw me over, at least phrase it in terms I can understand. Seriously, I still have no idea what habeas corpus is supposed to mean. But that's the point though. Lawyers speak a language that's deliberately written by them to exclude everyone else. Sounds like some Illuminati BS, am I right? How many of you have watched an anime that was basically 50% filler? Most court cases are a lot like that. A whole lot of waiting and following arbitrary procedures that aren't relevant to discerning an outcome. But of course, the slower it goes, the more they can bill you. Granted, there are some genuinely respectable lawyers out there, but most tend to live up to the profession's dodgy reputation. Of course, the whole system is infested with dumb and outdated laws. No sleeping in your own car. No carrying an ice cream in your back pocket. No whistling after 11 PM. No walking around naked in your own house. No wearing pink after midday on weekends. Yes, these are all laws that still exist in some parts of the world. Meanwhile, loopholes allowing waterway pollution, price gouging, wage theft, and tax dodging are all left untouched. These aren't bugs, they're features. Sometimes, you may even find yourself in court for something you didn't even know was a crime. But as they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Mate, that is complete bull. I've said this before, but the fact that the law is so complex that we need a whole profession to understand it implies that doing so is not a task that can be reasonably expected of the average citizen. Fortunately, there is a solution that they likely won't tell you about: jury nullification. Even if all the evidence points to a person being guilty, a jury can still decide not to convict them, perhaps sympathizing with their predicament in the face of a bullshit fine. If you're ever called up for jury duty though, best not let on that you know about this, or they'll likely try to avoid picking you. Unless that's what you want, of course. Depends on whether or not you hate your day job more. As for trying to argue for jury nullification directly though, bad idea. Unfortunately, saying, "Yeah, I did it, but it shouldn't be a crime, and you should overturn the case to make an example," is likely to be dismissed, or worse, resulting you being held in contempt. Because apparently, losing your cool in the face of legal bullshit is a crime. None of this is a problem if you can afford a good lawyer though, which is the whole basis for such a business model. When you have enough money, the law becomes more of a suggestion. Punishable by fine? So it's legal for a fee then? That's assuming you can't find a loophole, of which there are plenty. The law is basically Swiss cheese at this point. Do not even get me started on all the times a stone-cold criminal got off on a technicality. Don't want to pay taxes? Start a shell company. Want to dodge jail time? Settle out of court. Want crime to be practically legal? Become a corporation. Technically speaking though, a lawyer is optional. But as they say, he who defends himself has an ass for a lawyer. Additionally, however, it has also been said that the law itself is an ass. At the end of the day, it's basically a competition of who's the bigger one. Arguing with a lawyer is basically playing checkers against someone who's playing 5D chess, with a one-sided referee. Speaking of whom, if you thought parking inspectors and homeowners associations were anal, you've clearly never stood before a judge. At the end of the day, even if you're the victim and haven't done anything wrong, you're still likely to come away from it all a few grand worse off. Don't expect the courts to compensate you for your wasted time and money though, unless you're willing to spend that money just in order to get it back. So as always, why is this a thing? Because complexity equals gatekeeping. Because lawyers and politicians benefit from a system that only they can understand and control, thereby trapping the rest of us. Because a truly fair and accessible legal system would terrify the hell out of them. Because nothing hides cheating and corruption like impenetrable jargon written in a language no one can understand. Because when things get too complicated, most people tend to just give up. Honestly, the biggest joke of all is legal documents being referred to as briefs. As always, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below of your worst legal horror story. Bonus points for jury duty, or being fined for disturbing the peace. Thanks for watching, and remember, while Murphy's first law of probability may state that anything that can go wrong will go wrong, Murphy's second law states that you can always find someone else to blame for it.